You are listening to Arcane Carolinas, an exploration of the Carolinas' folklore, legends, myths, and modern weird. Each episode, we examine the historical context of our topic and aim to preserve some of the stories that help make this part of the world such a fascinating place.
Hey y'all, Michael here. Charlie and I are hard at work on a new slate of spooky season episodes, and just between us, we have already locked down our date for the annual Spooky Season Kickoff at Arcana in Durham. Speaking of Arcana, I'll be part of a 3-person panel book talk and shared reading event called Taking Pride in Our Writing at Arcana on June 18th, 2026 at 7 p.m. I'll be joined by Natanya Barron, who writes incredible Arthurian dark fantasy, Regency-era romantasy, and lots of other genres as well. And Jess Malatoris, whose story Cut a Skin Outside In has been selected for this year's Best Horror of the Year anthology, which is a huge deal. It is so cool. And yes, we will all have books, and I will have free stickers. So come on out to Arcana, and let's talk about writing and the importance of authentic stories. And now, without further ado, I return you to Arcana on a spooky evening in autumn of 2025. And thanks for listening. Alrighty.
We are back and we are running over schedule.
Yes, we are.
Woo. I am verbose.
Charlie.
Sorry.
Do you remember the story of the Blue Lady of Hilton Head Island?
You have a lot of shady ladies, Michael.
I do.
And I do believe I remember this. This was the daughter?
So I will refresh your memory.
I was wrong.
No, you're not wrong, actually.
Okay.
So this story is the Blue Lady of Belford.
Okay.
Because North Carolina has the other Blue Lady. We're about to release an episode about the other Gray Lady of South Carolina. And it turns out this is a year chock full of the other shady ladies.
So we've got gray ladies, we've got blue ladies, we've got pink ladies.
The pink ladies are my favorite part of Greece. I really wanted that jacket in high school. So this one is set in, well, where I first saw it, it was described as being in Franklin County, North Carolina. But really it's in Franklin and Nash and Warren counties, North Carolina. And originally that was part of the Tuscarora Nation. We've talked extensively about them, so I will skip the history.
It's funny. Once you get to a certain number of episodes, you're like, and we've talked about that 5 times, so let's get right to it.
So a brief refresher on the Blue Lady of Hilton Head Island. That was the story of a lighthouse keeper and his daughter who, during a hurricane, had to run up and down the stairs of the lighthouse to keep the light burning.
The Benny Hill music was going.
Yakety sax was playing nonstop. The father has a heart attack and dies in the middle of it. The daughter promises
Trombone
him...
noise. Mwah, mwah.
Indeed.
Sorry.
The daughter promises him that she'll keep the light running all night long. She does. And years later, people see her appear running towards the lighthouse occasionally.
When she feels like it.
Nancy Roberts has a version of this that is so embroidered that she gives the Blue Lady of Hilton Head Island a little dog and gives the dog a name and has this whole life depicted for the Blue Lady of Hilton Head Island.
Is Nancy Roberts still alive?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
So this...
I was just going to write her a letter.
Okay. I think that's our show. But this is a different Blue Lady. But I wanted to point out the key points of the Blue Lady of Hilton Head Island first. This comes from a book called Piedmont Phantoms, which is one volume of Daniel W. Barefoot's series called North Carolina's Haunted 100, where he has a ghost story or other legend from each of North Carolina's 100 counties. It's a 3-volume
Who
series.
does he think he is?
He is a noted storyteller. He's a noted storyteller and stage magician.
Oh, he's got me beat.
And he's a retired state legislator. Those
grit
books.
my teeth really hard right now.
Those books are
on.
Yeah, okay. I am attempting to do so. Those books are fantastic. Highly recommended.
Okay. So I should leave this guy alone?
You should leave this guy alone. He seems very nice.
Fine.
So the legend, as he tells it, is that Belford was a plantation that sprawled across the borders of Nash, Franklin, and Warren counties.
Okay.
A man named David Sills in 1798 founded this plantation. It was named for his family estate in England. He started the first post office in the region in 1822. It was a working, massive business that had many enslaved people there. Not a great place in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I feel like once you hit industrial scale, it's probably pretty awful.
They were the sole source of mail, like postal service, schooling, and commercial goods for miles in any direction. It was also on the stagecoach route from Philadelphia to Savannah.
Okay.
That looked meaningful.
I had like a lightning bolt of remembrance of the stagecoach route from Stagecoach Rock episode.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And the ghost town of Goshen Hill also happens on an old stagecoach route.
Yeah, but I'm like wondering if there's correlation. So I didn't say anything, and I just got real excited. But
Oh, okay. Maybe, I don't know.
This is what happens when we do things in person. Is like I can't hide behind Zoom or whatever. Where like he sees the reaction. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine."
Right.
I'm perfectly fine, Michael. Go on. I'll tell you when we need to stop.
So, according to the legend, it was a dark and stormy night.
Nice.
Specifically, it was New Year's Eve, 1835. And there was a freak winter thunderstorm. The stagecoach stops at Belford on its way through, and it has 3 passengers, quote, including a frail, middle-aged lady dressed in a royal blue suit, complete with a veil.
Ooh.
Which is like very evocative.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I
That's
love that part.
spooky.
Yeah. So the woman in the blue suit had on the way there suffered a seizure in the stagecoach and fallen ill and was unconscious.
Hold on. How big were stagecoaches? I don't imagine them being large.
Well, there were only 3 people in the stagecoach.
And let's assume they don't know each other. And this woman in a veil has a seizure.
Yeah.
This is horrible.
Oh, it's probably
this isn't a good story.
It's probably
Michael.
pretty unpleasant. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I like it.
It's terrible.
I write horror novels, Charlie. I don't know what to tell you. So, David Sills, who had founded Belford, he had a son named Gray Sills, who was a doctor and had at that point inherited the plantation and was the head of the family. He had the woman taken from the stagecoach and brought into the house
Spicy meatball.
so that he could... I'm just going to ignore you and keep talking.
That's probably for the best.
Probably. I don't think anybody in this place in 1835 had a thick Italian accent.
You don't know.
Maybe the woman did. I don't know.
It's me, Mario.
Too soon.
I'm really sorry.
What if she was wearing blue overalls and she was dressed like Mario? So
I'm sorry, but your ghost is in another castle.
So David Sills had a son named Gray, who was a doctor.
Okay.
He has the woman brought into the house.
Yes.
And he has her placed, importantly, in the second floor front bedroom. She dies exactly at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve. The storm raging around them and over the house. And 5 minutes later, the storm abruptly stops and the sky is clear. Dr. Sills says Does anyone know this woman's name or family so that I can write and let them know that she died here?
That's nice of him.
And everybody says, she never said a word and we don't know who she was. So they search her luggage for ID, any sort of documentation, and they can't find anything.
This is great.
So she's totally anonymous and is now dead in their guest room, and nobody knows what to do with her. She didn't talk to any of the other passengers. She never said her name. There's no way to find out who she was. So they, in the legend, buried her in the churchyard, in the graveyard at Belford Church, on the grounds, in her blue suit. And then people start seeing a mysterious woman in blue wandering the road outside of Belford. They describe a mysterious woman in blue with a blue complexion, which I especially love.
Very ghosty.
Dr. Sills, in the legend, dismisses all of these reports until, while he and some others were scouting for a location to build a new chapel, were riding down the road on horseback and suddenly see a ghostly woman in blue standing among them. So they stop because all of a sudden there's a lady in blue standing in the middle of their crowd of people, and they're trying to figure out where she came from. She is not responding. They hear a loud noise. They all turn and look at the loud noise. When they turn back, she's gone. Then, a few days later, Gray Sills' daughter, who was named Mary Louise in the legend, is out riding in a carriage with some of her friends, and they are surprised when, quote, a phantom in blue steps in front of the carriage. Just appears out of nowhere, stepping into the road. Yeah, like that. Again, as they sit there and say, where did this lady come from? Who are you? Do you need help? They hear a loud noise in the distance. They all turn and look away. When they look back, she's gone.
There's a fart joke in here somewhere, and I just can't find it.
So the family...
Loud noise in the distance, and then she disappears.
Is she like
gone.
Is she like a fart ventriloquist?
Yes, she throws her farts.
Okay.
So it's like everybody's like, "Oh my god, what was that?" And then they look back, and she's going, "It wasn't me."
We used to work
from under her veil.
We used to work with a guy like that.
Oh yeah. I will never forgive that farter.
The family decides, based on these two experiences, that obviously this ghost must be that woman who was buried at Belford Church, and that now she's trying to find her way back home. Mm-hmm. Included in the legend is that 10 years later or so, described as shortly after the Civil War, a man on horseback was riding past Belford. He was surprised on New Year's Eve to see a bunch of horses tied up outside the chapel.
By God, what are these horses doing outside my chapel?
And to hear singing from inside.
By God, what are this singing happening inside this chapel?
He looks through the window.
I have looked through the window.
I'm going to let you get it out of your system.
No, I'm just going to keep doing. I'm acting.
I would rather
This
you
is
not.
acting. Okay.
That's not acting. That's acting. There we go. Yes, exactly. He looks through the window, and he sees a woman in blue wearing a veil leading a hymn service. So he goes inside to join in, and as soon as he does, all music stops and the place is empty.
By God. This place is empty.
Daniel,
That's horrifying, Michael. This is excellent.
Thank you. It is Spooky Season Kickoff.
I know. That's why we saved yours for this part, so I can it up.
I'm not going to argue with that phrasing. According to the legend, Belford was sold in the first third of the 20th century. And then on New Year's Eve, 1935, 100 years later to the day, a freak winter thunderstorm whips up, and the building is struck by lightning, specifically the second floor front room, and the house burns. And when it's over, all that's left are two chimneys at each end.
Michael, this is awesome.
So,
This is such a good ghost story. Like, all right, I'll aside and like doing bad accents inside.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is excellent.
This is going to be a real time to edit.
My God, there's so much to edit.
Or so little. I don't know. My initial take on reading that legend was, yeah, right. It's like
It's such a good story, though.
But it's all like just so perfect.
It's so perfect. It's a Tally Johnson tale.
It's a Tally Johnson tale. Yes.
It's so good.
It's like a little too tidy, you know.
It's a Scooby-Doo episode. It's fantastic.
And I kind of figured there would be zero historical basis. But I thought, well, we have some specific names, and we have a place.
Yeah.
I'll just see what I can turn up. There's a Sills family archive at East Carolina University. And in it, I found a transcript of an interview with a woman named Louise J. Sills.
Okay.
And she starts that interview by saying, I'm from North Carolina, and I'm going to tell you some things about my family.
Good old Louise.
When my great-grandfather, David Sills, was 21 years old, he left his home in Greenville County, Virginia, and came to Nash County. At this point in the show, Charlie picked up a latex puppet called a Boglin. Longtime listeners might recall we did an episode about them several years ago and began to interrupt me with it. I just want to give you a little insight visually into that. Imagine Charlie with his hand in a rubberized monster about the size of a cantaloupe, making it talk. To be perfectly frank, just between you and me, because, you see, Charlie doesn't listen to the show. Part of what has delayed this episode coming out for so long is that it was a real pain to edit around.
My God. Michael, what have you done? All right, I'll really stop now.
It was funny, though.
I'll really stop now. No, I'm like super into this. Like, if it, like jokes aside, like, see, this is what he has to deal with when we actually record, and usually there's not a room full of people.
So Sills Family Archive includes a transcript of an interview with a woman named Louise J. Sills. She tells that she is the great-granddaughter of the David Sills who started Belford. That makes her the granddaughter of Dr. Gray Sills from the legend. And she's the niece of Mary Louise from the Carriage. Louise J. Sills was born in 1890. Her grandfather, Dr. Gray Sills, died in 1891, so their life overlapped.
Yeah.
And Louise Sills died in 1978, so her life and mine overlapped. This is how close history is to us all the time. I could have met a woman who did meet the guy from this legend.
It's amazing.
In 1972, she got interviewed by this oral history project at East Carolina. It's a fascinating interview, and I say that with the sincere content warning that she is super racist. And it is not fun to read her interview, and I do not recommend going and reading it. When I describe her as an unreconstructed racist, I mean that Reconstruction did not change her family's hearts and minds. It is really rough reading. And I just feel like that's worth pointing out. She was not a nice person. But it's also important to point out that she never tries to dress up herself or her family as better than they were.
That's good.
Because that lends veracity to the parts of her interview that are relevant to this story.
Mm-hmm.
She makes no effort to make herself sound great or her family sound great. She tells a lot of really weird, embarrassing stories. They had no idea how to live without enslaved people doing everything for them.
A real Grey Garden
situation. To the point that her grandmother tried to cook a chicken by shoving a chicken in an oven and coming back later. This is evidence of how stupid rich people are.
I don't know, Michael. How much can a banana cost?
Right. They are really dumb rich people. But her family, when they ran in Belford, and they added the post office, for instance, kept a ledger book. So in 1972, when she got interviewed, she also turned over a ledger book from the late 1790s of, like, the mail that got received at the post office.
That's awesome.
Stuff like that. She tells a ton of stories about how deeply incompetent they are as people.
I like that self-awareness.
She's mad in the 1972 interview about an inheritance they didn't get in the 1890s. That's the sort of person that she is.
I don't want to hang out with her, but I like this.
But it's important
like,
to
I
know.
don't want to be friends, but like,
she's not
this is
trying.
great.
She's not trying to impress anybody.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Here's the quote from her. One other thing that Dr. Gray added was a little church. He wanted to have a church on his plantation because there was no church near them. He wanted the church on the road that was most traveled, the road now from Castalia, which is this little town, to Lewisburg. One day, he and 2 or 3 men were riding horseback trying to decide on the exact location for this church, when all of a sudden, he saw a lady dressed in blue in their midst. They all spoke about her. By the way, she starts telling us totally unprompted. It's like in the middle of her talking about what it was like to run a post office in the 19th century. They all spoke about her. Oh, what a surprise to see a lady in such an isolated spot as this. They glanced off for a second, and when they looked back, she was gone. So they jumped off their horses and looked behind the trees and under the bushes and all around, but they never saw her anymore.
What is that response? Where'd that lady go? Oh my God, park the horses.
Did they not?
Where'd that lady go?
Did they not just belabor that they were dumb? So they jumped off their horses and looked behind the trees and under the bushes and all around, but they never saw her anymore that day. Some little time later, Dr. Gray's daughter, Mary Louise, and some girls were riding in the carriage late in the afternoon, and they were in about the same location. All of a sudden, they saw a lady in blue walking right in front of the horses. Dun, dun, dun. They all saw her and talked about it, but when they glanced off for a second, she was gone again. Those were the only 2 times that she was seen, but my aunt was as truthful as anybody I know, and she said she saw the blue woman. There was a story that people told which was believed by many to be the explanation for this lady in blue ghost. At that time, many people traveled in covered wagons, and oftentimes they would set up camp and stay for several days. One time there was a group of people in one of those covered wagons camped in the same location where the ghost was later seen. There was a woman in the group who was very sick. Grandfather, being a doctor, went down to see her. He found that she was in critical condition, so he carried her up to his home, where she died within a few days. He did not want to bury her in the family graveyard.
That would be unbecoming, you see.
So he had her buried out there at this camp. The local people used to say that she was homesick because all of her people had gone and left her, and that she was roaming around looking for her loved ones.
Dude, this is awesome.
The Sills place is what everybody in that area calls it now, even though none of them live there anymore. The plantation really did exist. It really did burn down 100 years after it was built. But it was 100 years after it was built, not 100 years after the Blue Lady's death. Mm-hmm. After the structure that they all lived in. Castalia, which she mentions, was incorporated as a town in the 20th century. It's this tiny little town. Apparently it was extremely prosperous and had an opera house until the Great Depression, and then everything fell off. And to this day, it was trivial for me to find people on Facebook in a group called Back in the Day in Rocky Mount who remembered this story and said, as children, they used to see her on the road. It is now Highway 56 that runs from Castalia to Lewisburg.
I'm glad you brought that up, because one of my questions was going to be, is this a place that you can go?
It is.
Okay.
The graveyard is on private property.
Okay.
I don't know if I would go poke around.
I would.
But you can find the graveyard on Find a Grave.
Right.
It has been documented.
Oh my God, I tripped and fell and landed in your graveyard. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So I'd gone into it saying, will I be able to determine for myself whether I think the story of the Blue Lady is true? And in my notes, I wrote, sure, it sounds that way.
Yeah, I love this one, man.
Louise J. Sills knew these people. She knew the people in this legend.
There's absolutely no reason for her to have introduced that into the interview. There's no reason to.
She tells it as totally matter of fact.
Right.
It's not part of making it sound like their life was exciting.
There I was, blah, 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 blah. We were big dummies.
Yeah.
And yada, yada, yada. Oh, we had a ghost.
Mm-hmm. Belford itself is long gone. Mm-hmm. After the fire, the grounds got overgrown. You can't see where the place was. There's nothing to go see in that place anyway. But I was really surprised to find out that this is not some local tale to terrify teens. There were people on Facebook who live in this neighborhood who had never heard it and are in their 70s and have lived there their whole lives. And other people who've lived there their whole lives who were like, oh yeah, no, I heard it because I saw it when I was a teenager. The family who lived immediately around where Belford was knew this story very well and had multiple people who had seen it. And that's the story of the Blue Lady of Belford.
That is an excellent ghost story.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
When I messaged you and said I've got a real humdinger of a ghost story, I felt like I did.
So, to pull the curtain back a little bit, the way the creative process goes is, I don't think mine's going to be good enough. What do you have? Tell me you have a ghost story, because mine's about, like, natural resource science. And I was like, cool, because I like my story and I want to tell it, but it's spooky season. So, Michael, please bring a ghost. And you brought an excellent ghost. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
So that's 5 years of Arcane Carolinas in the books. We're going to keep making them so long as you keep listening. Anybody want to talk about stuff? This is meant to be a community. Like, yeah, we make the episodes, but every year we come and we talk and we ask questions and you guys ask questions and we talk. And yeah, anyway, we eat cookies. So yeah, we're going to hang out for a little while longer. We got copies of the books if anybody needs a copy of the new book. We've got some really exciting stuff coming in the next year. So we are discussing taking Arcane Carolinas to be a seasonal thing. I don't think we can possibly resist the urge to publish episodes throughout the year, but we're going to focus predominantly on the spooky season. But Michael has been, for fans of his work, because he is incredibly humble, and I'm not saying that like this isn't sarcastic, Charlie. Like, I'm being genuine right now. He's terrible at telling people how cool he is. He's going to start a Patreon where he's going to have all this unpublished work and first drafts that he's written of books, and you'll be able to get those if you're into that sort of thing.
Every writer has a bunch of trunk novels sitting around that they wrote and said, oh, I'm never going to show that to anybody. And then I reached a point where I was like, well, I'll show it to people for money.
And I knew, yeah. So if you're a fan of his books, which I'm sure some people in here are, you'll have an opportunity to get access to books of his that haven't been published yet. And I know that he's really bad at promoting that. So, sorry, bud. I'm going to promote you if you're not going to. So there's that. And then, yeah, so, you know, it's going to be a really cool upcoming year. I've got some stuff cooking that I'll be reaching out to the community for support with regards to opportunities.
And that's the episode. Thanks for listening, y'all, and thank you for your patience between episodes. We're looking forward to getting back into it for spooky season this year, and we can promise you some very weird and thrilling tales from the Carolinas and beyond. In the meantime, Charlie mentioned at the end that I was reactivating my old author Patreon, and I have in fact done so. Supporters will get exclusive access to entire novels I have written and never published, including audio versions of some of those, and early access to other books as I record the audio narrations for them over time, including the audio narration for Arcane Carolinas Volume 2. It's at patreon.com/Michael G. Williams Books, and the link, as they say, is in the show notes. And thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Arcane Carolinas. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. For more episodes, behind-the-scenes information, and links to our social media, check out www.arcanecarolinas.com, where you can also buy the Arcane Carolinas book.
And if you like award-winning horror and science fiction, check out my books at michaelgwilliamsbooks.com. And if you have story suggestions, comments, or questions, email us at arcanecarolinas@gmail.com. And thanks for listening.